Welcome back to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. In my report this week, tonight will be on Smackdown Superstars. What happened after all? Stopped airing last night. And another report that was given by a fan that was also at the arena. And also, as promised, I will show two videos. One of the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels DVD promo that was aired, lasts about a minute and a half or so, and also CM Punk with John Cena singing a song that Cena normally sings every time they're in West Virginia at this particular arena. But that happened over the weekend, and a fan videotaped it, and I'll show maybe probably the first verse. That's about how much they aired on it. No idea. Well, but first, this is what happened after Raw went off the air last night. After the 8-man match ended on Raw last night, Alberto Del Rio was chased away by John Cena, but you're seeing that on TV. Okay, CM Punk's music hit, and he came to mess with Ricardo Rodriguez. Punk brought Ricardo in the ring and was joined by Cena. They gave him the thumbs down and an attitude adjustment. Cena and Punk stared at each other at this time. Cena extended his hand to Punk to shake hands. Finally, Punk shook his hand and raised each other's arms. They both met fans at ringside and signed autographs to end the show. And now for the second report from the Raw attendee named Gary Graham. Attended the Raw show in Columbus, Ohio, and sent the following report. CM Punk was over big when the show opened. However, the more it seemed like it was becoming the CM Punk show, he was losing the fans real fast, except for, of course, the vocal male crowd. If they kept shoving him down the fans' throats like they did last night, he won't be over nearly as much by year's end. Randy Orton, though, got 100% babyface cheers when he was shown on the video while coming to the ring, and even more so when the first note of voices hit. He came out for his match with Heath Slater. You could have heard a flea break wind when he came out for the match. I thought they'd do something with Orton to plug his DVDs that's due out today. Not even an angle with Mark Henry, who was nowhere to be found. Okay, then the comments on The Miz's plaid suit looked even worse in person than it did on TV. And speaking of The Miz, he was really over as a face and got a decent amount of cheers, but R-Truth just got heat. John Cena got the usual mixed reaction from the usual parts of the crowd. Unfamiliar from last week, he was actually getting cheers and not very many boos. In fact, they were all quiet last week. And the main event elimination match was good. Dolph Ziggler drop kick. His drop kick is right up there with Orton as the best one going today. Looks like a Christian versus Sheamus feud has started now. And Sheamus was over big as a face, and up close, I had front row. Christian looks to weigh about 175 pounds. If he loses any more weight, you might as well say tie a string around him. He can fly like a kite. And he'll look just like Spike Dudley. The crowd was pretty hot for the whole show, except for the Superstars matches. While standing in the ring during a commercial break, waiting for The Miz and R-Truth to come out, for some reason they were sent to the back. Only to come out again when they when they started taping for the live audience for us. But we're trying to get a woman to flash him. The woman was right next to a group of Make-A-Wish kids. Oops. And after the show, which was post-show, there was no dark match, just Punk and Cena trapping poor Ricardo Rodriguez in the ring, and of course hitting their finishers on him. Then they did the should we shake hands, shake each other's hands again after all we've been through. Handshake bit, same stuff they did when Cena and Orton last year. Of course they did, and Punk stayed for about 10 minutes signing and talking to the ringside fans. Cena stayed up out for about half that time with them. Not the best show, but the crowd seemed to like it, as Columbus crowds are always pretty loud. WWE will take Smackdown and week 27 of NXT tonight from the Huntington Center in Toledo, Ohio. No matches has been announced yet for the tapings, but we are seeking live reports, as I've already saw some. And if you're planning on attending, as always, you can always send them in to me, and I'll post them for my show. Former WWE diva Maria Kanellis revealed on Twitter that she's recording some new music. Maria released an EP titled Seven Signs back in April of 2010 on iTunes. And here is your trailer for the WWE's Greatest Rivalries, Bret Hart vs. Shawn Michaels, which comes out on Blu-ray on DVD on October 25th. So my date was wrong. I was thinking it was this week itself. And I will show that right now. Oh, let me turn the sound up. My other computer is running real slow tonight. Alright, there you go. Let me make it full screen again.
I can't even put it to words. It's one of those things that to this day does get me emotional because it isn't, it wasn't fun being that guy.
We believe two legendary superstars, one bitter rivalry that still resonates today.
Crossing lines of murder. It's gonna get ugly. I don't want to work with him. I'm done. I felt shafted by Shawn.
Now, for the first time ever, get the inside story of what really happened in Montreal from the superstars themselves. In this special DVD release, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross conducts the most in-depth interview ever done with these two icons as they sit side by side and discuss their storied WWE careers from their early days to the collision course that culminated in the most controversial match in WWE history. This comprehensive 3-DVD set is packed with the rare span in Rocker vs. Hart Foundation, Shawn vs. Bret matches, and
All right. All right, now back to where I was at. A dark match for tonight from last night was Drew McIntyre beat Primo. McIntyre won roughly in a 3-minute squash match with a Future Shock DDT. Superstars from Raw. Mason Ryan defeated JTG. Ryan won with a 4-minute with a pump handle slam. It was essentially a squash match. Tyler Ricks and Kurt Hawkins beat Titus O'Neil and Percy Watson. Rex and Hawkins won the match in roughly 4 minutes. The anonymous general manager podium was still at ringside. And that concluded the Superstar taping from the Raw brand. And here's more details. Mason Ryan returned to television tonight. For Superstar taping in Columbus, Ohio, as it competed in a match against JTT. The Welsh grappler resumed competing in live events 2 weeks ago after being sidelined and since late June due to an undisclosed injury. The taping also saw the return of Tyler Rex and Percy Watson to television. Rex teamed with Kurt Hawkins, squared off against Percy Watson and NXT contestant Titus O'Neil. And here's what what exactly went on during the John Cena and CM Punk over the weekend. And the guy that reported from last night was at that event also. It was in Wheeling, West Virginia. It's a yearly tradition for John Cena to sing John Denver's rendition of Take Me Home Country Roads whenever a WWE Raw House show makes it an annual stop at West Banco Arena in Wheeling, West Virginia. And this year was no different, except he had a little help. After the conclusion of Sunday evening's main event that saw John Cena defeat Alberto Del Rio by DQ, CM Punk made the save as Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez were prepared to double team Cena. Well, Punk and Cena shook hands, but before Cena could leave the ring, Punk pulled him back in and took the mic. Pipe bomb from Justin Roberts, and said as long as they've been doing shows at Wheeling, Cena has always been the one to close the show with Take Me Home Country Roads, and he, Punk, wasn't going to be the one to ruin the tradition. Punk asked Cena if he would team up with him to belt out a few verses of the song, which Punk promised would be the worst rendition ever. Punk sang the first verse, although he botched at the Blue Ridge Mountain part. His part came off pretty well. He then handed the mic to Cena, who then corrected Punk's mistakes and sang the rest of the song. But when I reviewed it, I didn't even see Cena sing much at all. Well, Punk went into the crowd and found 2 WVU hats for himself and Cena, and they wore them while playing to the crowd. Cena endorsed Punk as a Dynamite babyface now, which propelled Punk to do a cartwheel and a toe touch, channeling Randy Orton, as the whole arena erupted into laughter. And the guy took a video of the part where Punk sang, but wish I would have kept it rolling for the entire epic cartwheel. Great to end the show. And I will go to the video at this point here. And I will make that big screen. Maybe I won't for right now. Okay, now let's try this again. Okay. All the buffering. At that point, Cena's not even singing.
champion right-handed. Here's the thing, though. You rushed through the most important part.
And that's all they showed in that video. Okay. Now, back to the report. DJ Peckins is at the WWE Smackdown taping in Toledo, Ohio, and passed along the following report on Superstars taping. Match number 1, Alicia Fox defeated Tamina. Fox won with a scissor kick to the back of the head after Tamina missed a snooker splash. Tamina came out to Scotty Goldman, that's Colt Cabana's old WWE entrance music. Match number 2, Brodus Clay defeated a jobber, a total squash match. That's all Brodus Clay win with a running crossbody off the ropes. Match number 3, Daniel Bryan defeated Heath Slater. Bryan won with a reverse dragon sleeper. Slater came out to his new music and they had a good back and forth match. But it's a Superstars match. And that was probably the main event. And for the Smackdown Dark match, they had Trent Beretta defeating Johnny Curtis. Beretta won with a tornado DDT. Speaking of Johnny Curtis, has he even had his debut on SmackDown yet? Well, with the Super Shows coming out, I don't think he will. And now for your NXT report on from WWE.com. That was recorded, taped earlier today in Toledo, Ohio. Video recap. Darren Young versus Matt Striker and set up William Regal's return tonight. Opening video aired and Jack Corpella and William Regal checked in on commentary. Darren Young's music hit and he came to the ring with a mic. He welcomed everybody to NXT. He said he was there to talk about NXT being finished. Oh, hell yeah, finally. It's boring on the internet anyways. He said he wouldn't be seeing Striker anytime soon. He thanked Regal for stopping him last week because he could have gotten fined, suspended, or even fired. Regal then grabbed a mic and went to the ring with an oh dear. Regal put Young over, but said he wouldn't allow Young to continue to attack people like Matt Striker anymore. Young said Regal was trying to steal his spotlight. Regal said everyone there knew who he was. He said he was a bad Englishman who wears nice clothes, has beautiful hair, a body like a badly made bed, and a man who had committed more crimes in and out of the ring than anybody Young knew. Young then challenged him to a match, and Regal accepted, saying he was doing it for Young. Wait, we're not talking about the end of NXT? Oh, son of a... Nice mic work from Regal. And Young held his own pretty well. Unlike how Regal is playing this, he could pull off the babyface heel gimmick very well. Capella put over the face diva drama from Twitter from the weekend. Match number 1, Titus O'Neil and AJ with Hornswoggle defeated Derek Bateman and Maxine at 5 minutes and 14 seconds. The men started and Bateman slapped Titus. He did the rope. He hit the ropes for a moment. And then Titus went to work. Bateman tagged in Maxine and the crowd popped big for AJ. AJ hit a heel kick for 2. Maxine kicked AJ out of the air to take control. Maxine showed her in the ring greenness by working mostly rest holds and strikes, just as side headlocks and maybe slaps or punches or something like that. AJ made the hot tag and Titus destroyed Bateman. He hit a shoulder breaker and covered, but Maxine made a save. AJ hit a flying clothesline on Maxine. Titus hit the clash of Titus, set out powerbomb for the win. That was one of those matches that wasn't very good, and yet managed to entertain anyway. The women did the bulk of the time, and Maxine is too green for that anyways. But I didn't hate it. Maybe the expectations were just too low. Backstage, Maxine yelled at Bateman about losing. Bateman said she should have pinned AJ. They bickered for a while. and then calmed down. Maxine said that they had to get horny away from AJ. They even made a sex joke, and then they made out for a way that made it way too long for William Regal to put over his match, and then left the announcer table to change. Then they went to commercial. And Bateman's comment was about the sex joke. You always end up on top, and that was Edge and Lita's cringe. That was worth Edge and Lita cringeworthy. And they are dating for real? God, I hope they aren't dating anyone else. I've seen less fluid exchange in porn. Well, the show hung for a moment, and then when I got the feedback, Striker had joined Corpella, and Tyson Kidd was in the ring. Kidd said somebody had to be messing with him, then ran through things that had occurred over the past few weeks. He said he knew it was Yoshitatsu. He put over his training making the best ever, and trash talked Yoshi some more. Well, the Japanese symbol for pride appeared on the Titantron, and Yoshi's music hit. A masked calmer Tatsu made his ring entrance, and Yoshi removed the mask to reveal half of his face painted. Yoshitatsu defeated Tyson Kidd in a 10-minute and 52-second match. Yoshi hit about 3 million kicks to Kidd, and Kidd rolled to the floor. Commercial break. Tatsu went for a baseball slide, but Kidd moved and slammed Yoshi into the railing. Kidd worked the back with a drop kick and a choke on the rope. Kidd did a leg drop across the bottom rope on the apron for a near fall. Yoshi reversed a headlock into a back suplex, and Kidd rolled to the floor again. Yoshi went to the floor and hit a big boot. He rolled Kidd in and hit a top rope chop. He dropped a buzzsaw elbow and then a big punch for 2. Yoshi went for the round kick. Roundhouse, and he hit a drop kick to the other leg for a 2 count. Kidd went for a springboard elbow, but Yoshi got the knees up. Yoshi went to the top and Kidd kicked him down. Kidd went for a Frankensteiner, but Yoshi held on. He hit a huge flying spinning heel kick for the win. Yeah, that's what we've all been waiting for. A pretty decent match. Finally get one. But Yoshi got the knees up. Yoshi went to the top. And Kidd kicked him. Kidd went for the Frankensteiner. They probably have another level or 2 in them. But that was very good. I hated Yoshi's old character. This one is bland. But I like it better than the love-struck, goofy babyface. Well, it was announced on WWE Smackdown taping in the first segment in Toledo, Ohio, that the main event of the taping will be Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes in a champion versus champion match. Okay, champion versus champion matches don't have the same appeal they did at one time, but that doesn't mean WWE couldn't have made it out to be a big television main event with some advertising on Raw. Instead, they teased nothing for the SmackDown despite having several wrestlers from the Friday night show on Raw. And DJ Peckers, again, sitting in the report from Toledo, Ohio. The show opened with Mark Henry promo. Zack Ryder interrupted and informed Henry that both he and Orton would have matches tonight. But Teddy Long instituted a no-contact policy. Henry asked Ryder to return to the ring and asked him who he thought he would win at Night of Champions. Ryder said he thought Kelly and had Beth Phoenix's number. Sidestepping Henry's question, Henry said there wasn't a no-contact policy on Ryder and delivered the World's Strongest Slam on Ryder. Match number 1, Mark Henry defeated Ezekiel Jackson. Henry won clean after a World's Strongest Splash. So I guess when he did the World's Strongest Slam, he went into the splash on top of him. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes was then announced during this segment. Sin Cara Hunico's character he's playing now, beat Tyson Kidd. After the match, Josh Matthews interviewed Sin Cara, who answered in both English and Spanish. Daniel Bryan came out and challenged him to a match next week. Sin Cara seemingly accepted, kicking Bryan low, and applied the label lock to Bryan until the ref was able to pull him away. Thus, the heel turn again. Randy Orton was interviewed backstage by Matt Striker and called Cody Rhodes unstable. Pot, kettle, black, at least in kayfabe sense. Match number 3, Kelly Kelly defeated Natalya with Beth Phoenix. Kelly reversed a sharpshooter into a roll-up for the victory. Kelly escaped unscathed as Beth tried to attack her. After the match, Kelly retreated just in time. Christian interrupted Tony Trimble, who was ready to announce the next match. He told the crowd the next match was postponed and that the rest of the matches tonight were postponed because of Teddy Long's refusal to grant him a rematch. Christian asked for one more match versus Orton. Sheamus interrupted and talked Christian out of the ring. Match number 4, Sheamus defeated Wade Barrett by DQ when Christian interfered. Sheamus won the segment, hitting the road kick on Barrett with Christian escaping the Celtic Cross and getting up the ramp. And match number 5, Air Boom, Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, if you didn't know, defeated Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali again. Kofi pinned Mahal. Great Khali seemingly turned on Mahal, leaving him behind in the ring as the crowd went crazy. Mahal then cut an angry promo alone in the ring in the Punjab, and when Triple H's music hit, the crowd went nuts at this point. Mahal was yelling at Triple H in Punjab when Hunter leveled him with a pedigree. He pulled him back up and said, "I'm sorry, what?" Before Mahal could utter a word, Triple H pedigreed him again. This was a segment of the night to this point. The crowd ate it up. It was a nice surprise, even if it was likely done for the live crowd only. Cody Rhodes cut a pre-match promo, dissing Ted DiBiase and telling Orton he'll show him just how unstable he can be. And your main event was Randy Orton defeating Cody Rhodes in the champion versus champion match. Orton won with the RKO in a good TV match. After the match, Mark Henry entered the ring and for a stare down, Orton struck first, punching away at Henry until Henry reversed an RKO into the World's Strongest Slam. I'm wondering if that was part of the TV show taping or just after Smackdown got cut. Okay, Orton struck first, punching away at Henry until Henry reversed an RKO into the World's Strongest Slam. Henry then sat down on a chair that was positioned on Orton's throat. No contact policy, be damned. I think this is where Smackdown went off the air. And that ends my rant and raving with Smackdown NXT. And finally, this week I get to give you the Superstars results. Thank you and have a blessed week.